Every scamp uses lines. Have you ever stopped to think about how you draw your lines? How heavy? How light? When to taper off or start? We're going to take a look at some of the essentials for your lines, which will hopefully improve every scamp you do from here on in. So, the first lesson I want to talk about is your line stroke. For a long time I used to do scratchy strokes. Like you can see here in this phase, it's quite an arty way of drawing, but it's got no place with scamps. It makes the work messy, brings attention to the wrong details. Marker pens aren't very forgiving for unconfident strokes. What you want to do instead is always try to do fluid, confident, singular lines. However, if you do find it easier, sketch out your scamp in pencil first, and then once you're happy, go over in a pen. I end up doing this a lot when I don't have a reference for what I want to draw. Okay, up next, tweaking your thickness of lines. This comes in really handy when you've got shapes that taper out to a smaller or larger size and keep the scamp clean by containing it all in a single line. The effect is best done with chisel tip pens, so you can press on more or less at will, with a more noticeable difference. So in this case, all trees have a thick base that taper into a thinner point, and this method works well for that instance. A third tip, if you can't manage a full line without having to start and stop again, don't restart in the place you finished last. Instead, start a little bit inside the line you've just drawn, then come out of it and continue. This will stop your line having lots of blob points along it. A couple quicker tips now to finish off. The first one is a general rule. Whenever you draw a line, try to do it with your whole arm and not just your wrist. The wrist only has a limited range of motion and creates messier lines. It's fine for drawing small details, but for big shapes, try to keep your wrist steady and move your arm like so, for smoother lines. Last tip for the day, if you're trying to join 2 points together, rather than your eye following the pen and trying to keep straight, instead look for where you want your pen to end. Look only at this and move your hand instinctively towards it. You'll find your hand does all the hard work for you and leaves you with less of a wavy line. That's all for tips on lines. Try to utilise as many of these as you can, as they'll really help your scamps in the long run. Keep commenting and liking, and until next time.